Dude, I don't get buffers. Titration's alright, but buffers? Nah, man. I might just take a fat L on this quiz, dude. I literally got a 2 on AP Chem. And I suffered because a whole free response question was on buffers. Oh man, I'm getting so much awful flashbacks. Is it too late to, take this pass or fail?
I'm gonna be so real with you. I took that same exact exam that you're talking about. 2017 AP Chemistry.
Wasn't it hard?
You're over exaggerating. I hope you know that. It's not even that bad. What's wrong?
Dude, everything's wrong, bro. I don't even know what a buffer is.
Listen here, doofus. Alright? A buffer is simply a solution that resists changes in pH upon the addition of an acidic or basic component. Hey, pay attention. Alright, this is important. It's able to neutralize these small amounts of acid or base that's added, right? Therefore, maintaining the pH of our solution relatively stable. Yeah? Yeah? Yeah?
Oh, that makes so much sense now. Not! Oh my god, what does this even matter to me? I'm just gonna take a nap. Thank you, though.
I can't with it. Hello?
Who are you?
You don't know who I am? It is I, Dr. Henderson Hasselbuffer. Heard of me before?
No?
Doesn't matter. I am here to alleviate your nightmares of buffers. You know you'd be dead without them, right? Do you know how many things in this beautiful world use buffers to stay alive, and here you are, disrespecting them?
What?
Observe the speaker of blood. Don't ask me where I got this blood. Just observe the speaker of blood, yes?
Where?
No. Blood is our life force. It is vital to all the processes that we need in our daily lives. Did you know that blood has to be maintained within a pH of 6.8 and 7.8? If not, you'd be dead. Watch. You see this? This is citric acid. Acid, blood, just gonna change the pH, obviously, right?
Huh.
Boom. Nothing happened.
Whoa.
We've got buffers in blood. Yeah?
That's crazy.
I know it's crazy.
Buff?
Yes, buffers. I just said buffers. My gosh. Our blood contains a buffer system composed of carbonic acid and the bicarbonate anion. These boards are so nasty these days. Kids never know how to clean them. It's ridiculous. But just observe. Please move, you insolent fool! This is as basic as I can give it to you. Do you understand this?
Yes. So how does this keep me alive?
Listen, my friend. You like orange juice, don't you?
Love it.
You know what orange juice has?
Uh-huh.
Citric acid.
Oh.
Don't even ask me yet. You like to run, don't you?
I love running.
Me too. Back in my day, I used to run marathons. Well, your body metabolizes glucose in order to get the energy to do whatever the things you like to do, correct?
Yeah.
Well, all of these processes contribute to lowering the pH by increasing the concentration of protons in your body, right? Because you're getting protons from citric acid, you're getting protons from lactic acid, right? Etc. Buffers keep you alive by not allowing these increases in pH to occur in your blood.
Okay, so how does this equilibrium possibly prevent the pH change?
Alright, I'm going to introduce you to something I made with my good old friend, Henderson Hasselbach. He's my evil twin. Don't worry about that.
Nice.
I don't know how to spell these days.
I'm sure it's just a marker.
Oh, yes. This is known as the Henderson-Hasselbach equation. Now, what this beautiful equation tells us is that changes in pH are due to the ratio between our acid and our base, correct? So, let's look back at my previous example of running, all right? We produce lactic acid. That's a bunch of H plus in our blood. As you can see, we have H plus here. You can't see. We have H plus here, correct? If we increase the concentration of H plus, well, according to my other good old friend, the Chatelier, our equilibrium is going to shift to the left, right? It's common sense that the concentration of carbonic acid is going to increase and the concentration of HCO3 minus is going to decrease, right? Well, let me tell you something interesting. In our blood, the ratio of bicarbonate to carbonic acid is 20 to 1. So remember how we said that changes in pH are due to the ratio between the acid and the base? Well, because there's so much more bicarbonate than carbonic acid in our blood, any change in HCO3 minus is going to be minuscule. So that means the change in our ratio is going to be so small that this equation would accurately represent the fact that any change in pH will be very minimal.
Okay, that makes sense. Also, I remember looking at my study guide and it was talking about phosphate buffers.
You ask too much, George. Don't ask me how I know your name. But let me take a break.
A few moments later.
I am back.
You scared me there, bro.
What was that?
Phosphate buffers.
Phosphate buffers. You took the words right out of my mouth. Let's get rid of this nonsense. Now. Erasing. Something kids don't know what to do these days.
If I remember correctly, you were the one who left that.
Well, you could have erased it for me. Is this big enough for you, young man?
I'm pretty blind. I think it's behind who you are. How would you know that you just met me?
Yes, I can write equations by looking at you at the same time. It's awkward silence. Why don't you speak to me?
I'm still trying to grasp all of this content. It's a lot.
Oh my gosh, I will explain it to you. Relax. All right. Observe. You have hypothetical. Let's say you introduce a strong acid into your blood, right?
Yeah.
We have right here our phosphate buffer system, Na2HPO4. So our HCl is going to protonate this compound, and it's going to turn it into a weaker acid, NaH2PO4. Now you see how in this case we introduce a strong acid, and our result is going to be a weak acid. That's because this is acting as a buffer, which is decreasing the acidity of what's being introduced into our blood, therefore not allowing our pH to increase or decrease as much. So now let's say instead, what if we introduce a strong base, such as NaOH? So if NaH2PO4 reacts with sodium hydroxide, we are going to get a weak base as a result, Na2HPO4. It's reminiscent of the one with the introduction of a strong acid, right?
Yeah.
We start with a strong base and we end with a weak base. We won't allow the strong base to affect our blood that much. because our result is going to be a weak base. You see, the buffer and the buffer phosphate system
Mm-hmm.
does not allow our pH to change.
So what's a better system?
Before I say that, I want you to know that although this is present in our blood, it's not as prevalent as the carbonic acid system, right? Our carbonic acid is the main buffer system. But don't you worry. There's still something we have to worry about.
So does all buffers have to involve equilibria with strong acids, weak bases, blah blah blah?
So, do you know what amino acids are?
Acids, the building blocks of proteins?
Building blocks of proteins, yes. Proteins. Think about that for a second. What could proteins possibly do with our blood? Go, brainstorm, my child.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I guess I'll just start off by drawing the basic, chemical structure of a amino acid cell, alpha carbon, got the hydrogen, main group, boxyl group, and the side chain. Okay, you see, I really just don't see.
Little do you know, the answer's right before your eyes. We have a negatively charged carboxyl group, right? We have a positively charged amine group. What does this want? What does this want?
Okay, so I'm going to take what you said, and we're trying to buffer, right? So the only logical solution that I can think of in order to reduce the changes in pH is to add a proton to the carboxyl group and make it a COH group. Protonated.
Perfect.
And then maybe add an OH here and then release a water molecule through a condensation reaction.
You're learning! However, what does this mean? What does this do for us? What does this do for each group?
What does it do? Doctor?
Always looking to me for answers, huh? Well, we have a weak acid here, right? Aren't we, in a way, resisting changes in pH now?
Yeah.
We still have a weak acid. It's not a strong acid. Our pH isn't going to change.
Yeah, because the protons from the solution are no longer in solution. They were taken up by the proteins.
Precisely. And the converse is true for our weak base here, right? We have the protonated form, and then it becomes deprotonated with the OH.
Therefore, there is now a neutral solution instead of a basic solution in solution.
Exactly.
Okay.
We have another buffer system.
So is that all? Are we done with buffer systems? Don't no, you're kidding. You're kidding.
There's one more that I have to mention, and it involves blood. Correct. What's very
You
important?
look very malicious.
It's okay.
I don't know. Protein.
It has a heme group.
Oh, it carries the transports the oxygen. Hemoglobin?
Precisely. Now think about the structure of hemoglobin. What can it do for us?
Hemoglobin. Okay. So I know it's a protein, and what makes it so special is the heme group, right?
Perfect. So let's think back a little. Remember how I mentioned running?
Yeah.
And how when you run, you produce a lot of lactic acid?
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's an acid, right? So you're going to be producing protons. So now you have a bunch of protons in the blood, and you have to get rid of it, because if not, you'll die. So what hemoglobin does is that it binds to that free proton in your blood, and simultaneously releasing oxygen in your body to do other processes. So by binding to that H+ in your blood, you're effectively decreasing the amount of free protons in your body, not allowing the pH of your blood to decrease. Does that make sense?
It makes so much sense. Wow, thank you so much, Dr. Henderson Hasselhofer. Oh man, who knew taking a nap could be the key to studying?
Don't worry, my son. The answer was within you all along.